Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, March 31st, 2016 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I am a healing warrior. And we've got some interesting stuff going on today. I think among the most interesting, we've got Mercury connecting to Uranus today. Mercury and Uranus are both very electrical and magnetic and mental in their energy. And so when they come together, the mental vibrations, the vibrations in general, seem to start getting like really buzzy, crazy. And for some of us, it can stimulate thought, it can stimulate ideas, it can stimulate breaking through old things, old ideas, old things that have held us back, limitations. For others of us, it almost feels like so much comes in, it can feel kind of like overwhelming, an overwhelming amount of vibrations. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the energy today, it's time to get really present for yourself and really just focus on whatever's coming up for you, to work through it and with it and just be present with that, because they can start firing like this. And I know my mind is one that jumps from here to here to here to here to here. And when this comes in, it does that at like lightning speed. And it's like, oh, all of these things all at once. So that's just a call to get really present, really grounded with this energy. Pay attention to what's coming up. In GPS, I pulled a card that talked about currency. And currency is whatever is current, what you're offering your energy into. So really pay attention, pay into this energy, pay attention to your thoughts. It's also a really good idea with these thoughts to notice which ones bring you excitement, which ones bring light, which ideas are like, yes, I want to move in that direction, because there's going to be so many. You don't have to follow every single path that comes up. And this path might lead to the next path, but pay attention to what excites you, what your heart is like. Yes, I was doing that today. I was just focusing. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this idea. How do I feel? And I was like, it's okay. And then there's this idea. Well, how does that make you feel? And like this huge grin on my face. I'm like, oh, that's undeniable. That's the energy that I want to move into. So pay attention to what makes you smile. It's the yum or yuck thing. What feels yum? What feels delicious? What feels yes? And move in that direction. So besides that, we have the moon in Capricorn making some connections in this energy, which may actually have you on an emotional level not quite ready for these ideas that Mercury and Uranus are bringing you. What I love, though, is that you might feel emotionally a little bit off. You might feel a little bit held back emotionally. You might emotionally be like, well, I don't think that I could make that happen. Even though that feels good, that feels so yes, I don't know if I could feed into that. I don't know if I could make that happen. But the moon is going to connect to Pluto in the evening. And so that Pluto is shifting how you're all showing up in the world, how society works with the world. And so even though you may have that feeling, I don't know if I can make it happen, later in the evening, there's that transformation energy that comes through and helps break us through any of those chains that we're holding on to. We also have Venus. So Venus just was connected to the South Node, Venus was connected to Chiron, and Venus is moving into connection with Ceres. The connection's not going to be till tomorrow, but we're still going to be feeling that Ceres Venus energy. So we're going to be tuning into our worth issues, and we're going to be tuning into mother issues. And I know a lot of my worth stuff has very little to do with me. And, well, that's not true, because I'm an adult and I've cultivated it. But a lot of that foundation of my worth stuff was formatted by my mother's worth issues. And so I've been working through them and healing them. And so we talked about this in GPS, and for Nikki, she kept having a ton of mother stuff come up for the reading this week. But pay attention to the mother stuff that's surfacing, especially around your worth, especially around your talents, around your relationships, and recognize the patterns that work for you and recognize the patterns that don't, and recognize where these patterns really go back to and connect into. There's a study out that just talks about how we are all carrying our ancestors' DNA in us. We are working through lifetimes, centuries of human conditioning. And it's not an excuse, it's just an opportunity to know it goes back so deep. But all you can do is like really step up now and pay attention to how you're feeding in on a mental level. I pulled two cards today that are both like, whew, the master in consciousness. You are the master of your consciousness. You are the master of your mind. You get to decide if your mind is going to follow that trail or not, and you get to decide how you're going to feel about the trail that the mind follows or not. And that's like mastery, showing up for yourself. So pay attention to the consciousness around your value, the consciousness around your healing. It's an 11-degree day. It's a master degree day. There is healing available for you as your warrior self, as your conscious warrior self. We've got some chains though. The Rebel card, we're breaking through these shackles, breaking through these old thought patterns, breaking through these old patterns of being. But again, you got to show up for it and not compromise yourself. And I take the compromise card as, okay, you could go in the direction, that I talked about in the beginning that doesn't light you up, that doesn't feel so good, or you can tune into the one that lights you up and is like, yes, this is how I want to move. This is how I want to be. So that's it for today. Have a beautiful Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.